Oh, very good afternoon to all of you. I know this panel is between you and the lunch, so I'm going to request your patience with us. I will quickly do some introductions. My name is Akhil. I've been in supply chain for the last 35 years, and I've worked in companies like Unilever, RPG Enterprises, and for the last 11 years, I was building Amazon in India and other countries in Latin America, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. For me, it's an honor today to have our very distinguished panelists. So we have got Mr. Sreekumar. He's a mechanical engineer from Calicut Regional Engineering College with a degree in finance after that. And he has been a very successful industrialist and made the transition from being an industrialist to move into consulting, where he has been advising governments on public-private partnerships. His area of domain is very widespread. This is primarily in the area of public infrastructure, including airports, including ports, roads, industrial parks, industrial corridors, water treatment, sewage management, and a bunch of other things that he has done. He is currently the CEO of the Vizhinjam Port, and I would love to talk to him about more things as we come along. Thank you for being here, sir. I would also like to welcome Antony, sir. He is a visionary in the area of ship design. He has more than 5 decades of experience in ship design, has worked in multiple countries, including India, Japan, China, Southeast Asia, and Europe. I don't know if many of you know this, but he and his team have designed more than 150 ships across the world of different kinds. And we should give him a round of applause for that. You don't see this kind of talent in India. We don't talk about it, and I think that's something that I was very privileged to have you here. He's also very passionate about indigenization. He's a managing director of multiple companies, 2 companies, and then in 2007, he opened a company in India to train people on ship design. He has trained more than 500 engineers on ship design, and they work in different countries, different companies, including the government and private sector. So thank you so much for being here, sir. And I would also invite Praful. Praful has been a product leader. He's in the technology space for the last 20 years. Many people don't know, but he is one of the folks who did pro bono work for the Indian Railways to design the train booking system, pro bono work. Then he was also involved with startups like Snapdeal when they were just starting off, and then OLX, where he built products for almost 35 countries and scaled the business there. At Shiprocket, he's a chief product officer and a lot of experience in technology space. So thank you all for being here. I want to also thank you for your patience and for your time here. I'd love for all of you who are on your phones to make the next 40 minutes or maybe 31 minutes the most meaningful ones for yourself with this 130 years of experience on the stage. I want you to take away the insights that these leaders bring in and carry back ideas and thoughts about how you as entrepreneurs, startup founders, investors can look at opportunities in what is considered as a legacy sector, which is maritime industry, but is something which needs all the technology that is being built today. So thank you for that. Just to set context, Kerala is blessed with a very large coastline, 600 kilometers of coastline on the Arabian Sea, very deep drafts, therefore natural ports, very well connected with multiple shipping lines. And therefore, there is a place of privilege that Kerala has in the whole maritime ecosystem. A lot of people don't know, but government reports basically say that in the investment sector, in the maritime industry, there is an opportunity to invest as much as $1 billion. That's almost 9,000 crore rupees in today's money, which is available to be spent and to be invested in this sector. So with that backdrop, I'm going to start my questions, and I will start with Mr. Sreekumar Ji. So, sir, you are the CEO of this new port that has been built, and I'd love for you to talk about the features of this port and how does it compare with benchmark ports across the world.
Thank you, Akhil, and thank you, Startup Mission, for giving me this opportunity to join in this panel discussion. I would like to briefly correct you. In your introductory words, you said that I was a very successful industrialist and entrepreneur. The correction is I am a failed entrepreneur from the state of Kerala. And with my failures as an industrialist, today I am advising others on how not to repeat those failures.
He is being modest, that is what I can tell you.
Anyway, jokes apart, I'll just go back to my own life as an industrialist to share the thoughts of, what Vizhinjam brings on the table for the state of Kerala, for India as a whole, and practically for all Indian Ocean Rim countries around us. See, when I was an industrialist about 30 years ago, I was a very small-time exporter from Kerala, sending my products to Sri Lanka as well as to the GCC countries, to the Middle East. And mostly my consignments were going to Jebel Ali port from my factory in Trivandrum down here. And, as a small entrepreneur trying to make life big in the global market, I found that, my consignment which leaves from my factory in Kochuveli industrial area, it reaches Jebel Ali 6 weeks later. So with my limited geography learning from my school days, I thought probably I'll take my consignment to Cochin and maybe from there a ship will carry it all the way to Jebel Ali. That's the way the shipping would happen. Then when I spoke to the experts in the logistics sector those days, they said, no, it doesn't happen like that. You have to go in the opposite direction. You have to go southeast to Tuticorin, from where what used to be called as a motorized sailing vessel would carry my consignments across to Colombo in Sri Lanka. And it will lie there for quite a while. And from Colombo, I heard for the first time in my life a term, mother vessel. I was told that some mother vessel would be sailing down from one of the Chinese ports and it will pick up my consignment and ultimately drop it in Jebel Ali. So this whole cycle, 30 years ago, took 6 weeks. Now, what is the change that Vizhinjam is bringing? Today, the same consignment, had I been an industrialist today, it will leave from Vizhinjam, and on the 6th day, it will be berthing in Jebel Ali in Dubai. So that is a total transformation that Kerala or India or practically all the countries in the Indian Ocean Rim around, the whole world is our market, thanks to Vizhinjam. In fact, I'll just explain, answering your question. We have legacy ports in India which are almost 200, 300 years old. You have your Mumbai, you have your Kolkata, you have your Chennai. All these ports have been around for probably during the British era, 200, 300 years ago, and the cities have grown around these ports. Now, Vizhinjam, which is a fledgling port, which is just about 13 months old, it is today having direct connectivity to almost 106, this is my last count as of last week. It has got direct connectivity to 106 ports across the world in practically all continents except Antarctica. And as you all know, Antarctica doesn't have any people living there. So you don't have any traffic to Antarctica. But otherwise, all continents on Mother Earth where people live, Vizhinjam has got a direct connectivity which is not there for any other Indian ports which are 100, 200 years old, including our own Cochin. This is amazing. This is a game changer, and this could make our industrialists, mostly traditionally, conventionally thinking, southern tip of India, South Kerala, really doesn't have any strategic advantage to become a player in the industrial domain. But Vizhinjam changes it because the whole world is now your market. And in the limited, the Vande Bharats, in a layman's terminology, I'll say, the Vande Bharats in the maritime sector berths in Vizhinjam, picks up cargo, drops cargo, which no other Indian port has. So this is in a nutshell the uniqueness of the port. Of course, we all talk in terms of the technology adopted. It's state-of-the-art technology. In terms of technology and in terms of equipment, it is at par with the world's largest container terminal, which is in Shanghai. But in terms of size, we are just about 3% of Shanghai. But it gives us a huge opportunity to transform India in the global trade.
Thank you. And when you talked about ports, I also want to come to ships. And I'll come to you, Anthony, sir. So Kerala has these ports India has about 220 plus ports, of which 20 of them are in Kerala. And if you look at this, there is a lot of focus also on what happens at ports. So there are ports, there is a lot of talent in Kerala, and there is also this very long-standing legacy in maritime industry in Kerala. So from your perspective, what are the 2 or 3 areas that you feel are competitive advantages for Kerala in the area of ship design, shipbuilding, or maritime operations?
Thank you very much. As we all know that Kerala has very advantageous position when it comes not only the coastal part of the state, but also the rivers and the inland waterways. And once upon a time, we had used these waterways for carrying cargoes in our big Kettuvallam. But why it has gone down is that the cargo ships don't offer the last mile connectivity, the door-to-door delivery. Therefore, you have to bring a goods to the port to load on a ship, and you have to go and discharge it in a port and then transport it by trucks. There is a number of manhandling of the cargo, so that has not made it popular. So we have designed a ship that is suitable for that. That is the Ro-Ro vessels. The Ro-Ro vessels will have last-minute connectivity because it will pick up a good at a warehouse and it will deliver to a factory or wherever it is to be done. So one of the biggest problems of challenges are the bridges that we built long time ago, for which the air draft to pass the cargo is not there. So there is 2 options. One is to have bridges, they are liftable, which is very commonly adopted, or design ships that are able to pass under the bridge. We have designed one such solution. So when it comes to the coastal waters, the biggest challenge is there are no return cargoes for the ship. You have one-way cargo. So shipping doesn't sustain unless you have a return cargo. So unless and until we develop that return cargo, the shipping will not take off. So that's this little about the challenges Kerala has, but which can be overcome. And for the first time, India as a nation has recognized the importance of shipbuilding. As you know, the shipbuilding started in Europe and in United States, then it moved to Japan and Korea, and later on China and a few other small countries. But it actually bypassed India, and we never became a major shipbuilding nation. But this year the government has recognized the importance of shipbuilding. So 70,000 crore has been allotted this year to develop shipbuilding and ship financing fund. That includes also developing a ship technology center that will provide the technological part that is required for this huge expansion. And I am actually in the governing council of that, guiding them how to do it. And we have research and development funds, we have skill development, we have design development and whatever that is required for that expansion. So in terms of opportunities, shipping is actually an evolving industry. Although it is a legacy industry, but it is also an evolving industry. Recently, with the net zero requirements by 2050 and the digital applications on the ship, the unmanned ships and things like that, there's a lot of opportunities that has come up. The opportunities really galore. So there is one with regard to ship design, second is in shipbuilding, third is in ship operation. Perhaps to many young people sitting here, the area of ship operation is probably the most attractive part because there is a lot of data that can be collected from the ship operation and the operation can be improved by analyzing that data. And we have a lot of sensor-based data that is taken out from the ship, both on the technical side, on the cargo side, on the operational side, on the navigational side, and where you can have continuous improvement of efficiencies in all those areas. That's a huge area. Once you analyze, there are a lot of opportunities out there. And with this increased shipbuilding and ship design, again, the opportunities are there for the application of artificial intelligence, digital technology, data analytics, and when it comes, for example, predictive maintenance, that is where you take the data and you can manage your maintenance better. And Kerala also can be the hub of green technology in shipbuilding. We focus on ships that are operated by electrical mode, using electrical energy, then the clean fuels, the non-legacy fuels or the new generation fuels like methanol, ammonia, hydrogen, and we can start focusing on a niche area of green technology and green ships. We are already designing hybrid and electrical operation vessels and we are providing the designs to various shipyards here. So that's the kind of opportunity, and I will not take more time because I see there's very limited time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony ji. You talked about technology, and I'm going to come to you, Praful. So your organization is online e-commerce support for many sellers and vendors, right? And I think for you, sitting between the port and between the seller ecosystem, what do you think are the places where technology can be used, including AI, to help expand the maritime trade and this whole economy? So what are the places where technology can be really leveraged and innovations can come in from there?
Sure. Just before I get to the answer, I do want to just call out, I've been here a couple of hours and we keep on talking about how startups are evolving and how we see energy in Bangalore, in Delhi, in Mumbai. But frankly, the energy that I saw just in the couple of hours was just unbelievable. I think what's happening out there in terms of all the innovation that I can see, and I'm going to spend a lot more time. I think it's really good to see all of this happening across the country. So round of applause for the audience and the startup entrepreneurs here. I'm going to take cue from Sreekumar sir and Anthony sir on what they were talking about. So we work with a lot of SMB merchants who are doing trade not just in India but also cross-border. And for them, logistics is a key need to be able to ship, not just packets but also bulk products. Specifically when they're trying to address customers sitting outside of India. There's a lot of demand for India products. And I feel for these merchants, like technology, data, AI plays sort of an underlying platform to be able to enable them to service their customers better. Let me give you an example. For somebody to have high predictability of when their products will reach from a port in India to, let's say, a port in the US or Dubai, so that their Amazon fulfillment centers can be fulfilled on time and their orders from there on can be delivered extremely fast, I think extremely important. Merchants rely on high predictability. They want total landing cost. I think there's a lot of cost that gets added along the way once, a port will leave, and then merchants are, slapped with bills that come come as surprises later. So high predictability on the landed cost as well, and also return logistics. I think is a extremely important area, because to get products back is also a challenge right now. And like Sir said, like if some of the returns logistics also gets enabled to empower utilization of the logistics that happening, I think data there plays a key role in driving some of this predictability. Like the Trivandrum port that's just coming up, to actually adopt new age technology right now is actually going to be much more easier, I feel, versus trying to migrate a port which has been running on legacy technology. So really start with a new age sort of thinking. And also at the third, I feel, are deeper integrations. Because, when you think of any, and let's take an example of a D2C brands that's coming up. They're selling products through their website, through Amazon, etc. I think what they want is to be able to also manage their end-to-end business a lot better versus having to, do all of these things differently. Correct. And if there are deep integrations which are available right from the word go, all the way from, sourcing to actually fulfilling an order, figuring out what's not working well, and then have workflows and automations built on top of them to enable seamless data handover. I think it's extremely important for them to drive a lot of efficiency in the overall way they do their business.
So what I hear you say is there's a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs and people who want to make investments in this space where you want to have end-to-end visibility of the supply chain. Where is the material? Where is the information? Where is the money? All of these, and end-to-end is what one of the things I picked up from you. Okay. Sreekumar sir, I'll come back to you. You talked about the new port and how innovative it is. There's a lot of technology that has been put in there. So if you were to just step back and see what are some of the areas where there is further work to be done, especially on the marine side or on the land side, where the startups in the room, the founders in the room, or the investors in the room can actually make an opportunity out of it. What could be some of those areas to support the port?
In fact, you hit the nail on the head. In fact, that is where, we have the world's most modern port infrastructure, which has become a reality in a fishing village in deep south of Kerala. Okay, and that's about it. On one side, you have the most modern port infrastructure in place, and we have got a very competent port operator, India's largest port operator. The Adani Group is running the port. They bring all the shipping lines in place. They put all the systems in place. But you look on the land side, you look on the marine side, you have practically nothing to complement the port, nothing to support the port operation, nothing to leverage on the port. So I would say that we are sitting on a gold mine, waiting to be tapped, and the next 5 years, I would say, will be a very exciting period moving forward, because I find that youngsters in the social media, they write quite a lot. We are sleeping, we are not acting on these advantages. Certainly not. Government of Kerala, I would say, has taken a step forward, which even Government of India has not thought about in the last 80 years, where Vizhinjam has become today a part of the global supply chain network. Cargo, as I told you, moves from almost about 100 plus ports, get dropped here and gets picked up from here and moves to these ports across the globe. But now, what are these opportunities that are available for potential investors? I will put them into 3 distinct silos or baskets. Number one, taking off from what you mentioned about the logistic network, there is nothing here. So I would say that, the first step in any container terminal, in any major container facility, is to have empty container yards. Because if an exporter or importer wants to move cargo through Vizhinjam, he will ask his shipping line or his customs house agent, hey, you place 50 containers in my factory in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
So the first step is in this network is the empty container yard, which is just nothing beyond, it's not a custom bonded area. We have not even one. Okay, so in our assessment, we have potential for at least about 20 players to come up here. And the other step is when we have the containers moving in here, We have no container freight stations. We have no reefer plugs. Especially Kerala has got a lot of perishables being exported. You have processed fish, you have other foodstuffs being exported, all have to be handled in a temperature controlled manner. So you need reefer plugs for that. Outside the port, you don't have even one reefer plug available to support this mechanism.
Right.
So empty container yards, reefer plugs, container freight stations, other cool and cold chain facilities, container repair facilities. Even, we don't have a parking lot for trucks, which will come in thousands. So this entire ecosystem has to evolve maybe over the next 5 years, which is very critical if we really have to leverage on this. The other side, I'll just give an example. Antony sir mentioned about ship repair as well as ship building. Now, we had 3 occasions where the ships which came and berthed at the port, they had to be retained here for about 2-3 weeks because of some mechanical damage. Right. Now, there is a limited berth length available in Vizhinjam now. And when a ship is occupying, 2 weeks for repair facility, for want of what we call as a lay-by berth in the neighborhood. Right. And again, an ecosystem to undertake those repairs. I'm talking something similar to a roadside workshop where you take your car in case of a breakdown. Right. Even such rudimentary infrastructure facilities are not there. And that is where we would welcome, we will roll out a red carpet to welcome such investments to come over here. Because, see, just imagine a fledgling port which is just about 13 months old has already received 620 vessels as of yesterday.
Right.
Okay, and handled about 1.3 million TEUs of containers, which none of the South Indian ports are doing these scales even today, including Chennai. Right. So, on the logistics side, there is a whole lot of developments that have to come up. On the marine side, the ship repair, then other, even supporting services. Ship handling, stevedoring, all these facilities have to come up. Bunkering, sir mentioned about the green fuels. We are in discussion with all the large oil marketing companies for setting up their operations here. So all this would translate into substantial economic benefit for the local economy and also translate into creation of large-scale employment. That is where the multiplier effect and the impact of the port would come for the state of Kerala. Right. And we would really welcome, these two have to come up first, the logistics and the marine side facilities. The third is, sky is the limit in terms of industrial activity. As I told you, the world is your market. You can think in terms of anything that could be set up here. And see, just to give an example, today processed shrimp sailing out from Vallarpadam, Cochin to the east coast of the US takes about 60 to 65 days sailing time. It'll get dropped in different ports in some parts of the world. Today we have direct sailing from Vizhinjam to New York, which takes about 26 days. So it's a game changer in every respect. Right. So it opens up avenues for large-scale industrialization. We are also in the process of consolidating land for potential investors to come up and set up these facilities. So the next 5-year journey would be really exciting as far as Kerala is concerned, where we can really leverage on the Vizhinjam advantage, I would say.
No, thank you for that. I don't know if you registered this. The CEO of the latest port is actually saying, come, I have lots of problems to solve. And that's your opportunity as founders, entrepreneurs, investors to say, okay, there is a need. Half the time in the startup ecosystem, we actually struggle to say, what is the need? What is the product going to serve? Here is a company which says, come, for the next 5 years, I have work for you. So I'm just leaving this thought with you to think about it, to say, where is it that you could benefit from this ecosystem? You also talked about skills and you also talked about labor. And I think, Antony sir, I want to talk to you about how do you think there is so much talent in Kerala? There is so much skill in Kerala. How can we ensure that the skill is developed for the right kind of ecosystem that we need in the maritime industry? What are the academic partnerships that might be relevant? How is it that people can be trained for the actual jobs that will be coming up in this scaling up of the economy here?
Thank you. I can speak specifically to ship design, shipbuilding, ship operation. So in order to utilize the present talent pool and present workforce availability, first of all, the industry and academia have to have an interaction to identify what sort of talents, what sort of training, what sort of experience that the industry is expecting. That's the first step. So that actually involves change of syllabus. I have actually submitted to Kerala Technical University what as an employer, employer of engineers, I would like to see a candidate that comes out. So industry has a great responsibility to interact with the educational institutions, design syllabuses so that these syllabuses are applied, the graduates that are coming out are employable. So that's the first step. We have to provide internship to these young people who are coming, because on-the-job training is very important. So internship should be compulsory and obligation. And somebody spoke about Canada, and I am a Canadian also, incidentally. We have a compulsory 2% apprenticeship tax, that unless the company spends that money, it will be taken off as a tax. So every company is forced and encouraged to spend that much money for training. So we have to have some compulsory requirement for every company. Not only they just take people, they have to train people. So my company here, we focus on training the new generation. And then we can easily offer them jobs because we have these vacancies already. So the industry needs them. We can identify them, and that can be made available to the education institutions, so the jobs are almost guaranteed. So I won't take more time. I will be available in the afternoon. If anybody want to engage with me on a one-to-one basis, I'll be available for whole afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you for the offer, Anthony sir. This is going to be very important for many people in the room to talk to you and learn from your experience. I'm coming to you, Praful. One of the things that you talked about was D2C brands, right? And I think there are a lot of well-known D2C brands now in the ecosystem today that have inspired many generations of founders now. At least 2 generations of founders I can see are being inspired by D2C brands. So what do you think the entrepreneurs and the state ecosystem can do to help the D2C brands to use Kerala as an export hub for international markets?
Yeah. See, I think when we think of any D2C brand and they think of their opportunities to use any export hub to send stuff abroad, I think they're going to be looking at a few things that I mentioned earlier, which is again reliability, predictability on cost, efficient handling of issues if they come up, and a high connectivity and speed that is needed to actually get stuff out. I see a lot of initiatives that are happening by the government, like the e-commerce export hubs, which are getting set up specifically. We're taking a lot of cue from China, how they've set up their ports and hubs. Because where does the D2C brand or any SMB merchant struggle? I think they struggle also with a lot of legalities and customs. I think it's extremely gray, takes a lot of time, people are not aware. And I think a lot of deep data flows, deeper understanding, high documentation, and then getting deeply integrated helps them do a lot of that much more easier. I think green channels also of making sure that things can be cleared faster, not just at the source country, but also at the destination country, right, helps them manage their business a lot better. And I think those are the areas where brands and businesses are looking for ease. They don't want to get stuck with the hassle. I think simple things like shipping bill in itself just takes so much time to figure out, so much reconciliation, so much paperwork is still required. Specifically for when you start shipping different categories, there's so much legality, processes, different paperworks are required, and it's still somewhere buried in physical books. Somebody has to figure that out, get it out. But can this be all digitized? Can this be made available at the onset? And can that become highly predictable, both in terms of cost and what to expect for specifically D2C brands in question? I think is going to be key in making sure that they can differentiate the experience they will get from port A to port B or provider A to provider B, which I feel is going to be a key in. And I think that's where the opportunity for any entrepreneur who's sitting in enablement of the port lies. Like Sreekumar sir was saying, like there's so much opportunity to say all of these problems exist, not just in the physical infrastructure, but also in the digital infrastructure of helping the port succeed and get more business. I think which is where a lot of the opportunities for entrepreneurs to build on top of these initiatives will lie, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you for that. One of the things that I have learned by being in the startup ecosystem is to take risks. I can see the clock and it says I have only 10 more seconds, but for all of you, I'm going to take this risk and ask one question to each one of them with a very short answer, if I may ask for. So, sir, for you, I think the question is, if there was one change in the policy that would enable maritime business more in Kerala, what would that be?
See, more than a change in the policy, basically for this to become a success and for us to leverage on the port, in fact, Government of India's Maritime Vision 2030 as well as Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047 has identified the potential of Vizhinjam, but it also cautions about the poor last mile connectivity.
Last mile
But in terms of, because end of the day, you need to connect the port to the places where you produce.
Right.
So there are three aspects. Sir mentioned about the inland waterways where we need to have a lot of strengthening, where we can connect all the minor ports in the state of Kerala to the Vizhinjam port. That's number one. And also we will need a lot of support and monetary as well as other support from Government of India in terms of the rail connectivity as well as the road connectivity.
Right.
Where it's a win-win situation. Practically, it's not just Kerala that's going to win. Practically all the outward-looking South Indian states which are all targeting that 1 trillion economy, they can move it to Vizhinjam and export to the whole world. So that is one intervention that we would require from Government of India to strengthen the last mile connectivity.
Fantastic.
I'll conclude with that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Antony sir, for you, with your 5 decades of experience, if I'm an entrepreneur and I come to you for advice and say, as I'm thinking about being a founder and an entrepreneur, what would be 1 or 2 mental models that you would suggest? What would be 1 or 2 guiding principles?
Thank you. I'll limit it to maritime sector. I think in maritime sector, safety is very important. Safety to the crew that sails on the ship, the safety of the environment, and safety should be your priority and the priority of whatever you start. So when it comes to maritime sector, then it will be adaptability, because maritime sector is a constantly evolving sector where you have to have very good communication with the stakeholders as well as see the trends of the industry for the future and able to adapt to that changes that is taking place, that evolvement that is taking place. Then building up a very good relationship with your clients to understand the client's needs. That is the key at the end of the day. I won't take more time. Thank you very much.
Just one thing I would like to add. He talked about safety. I would just think about asset safety and human safety. And there's a lot of innovation that can be done in both the spaces. Yesterday, we saw underwater drones being used for looking at ship damages, inspection, etc. Similarly, a lot of vision technology is used for human safety. And I think I'm just building on the point that you made about safety to say ideas for startups could also be in the area of human and asset safety. Last question for the panel. Praful, you talked about technology. What would be 1 or 2 low-hanging fruits? What low-hanging fruits that will be very important for the startup ecosystem in the area of AI in this whole maritime industry? What do you think could be?
I think the lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, is just using data. I think we don't end up using as much data that we have, and it could be used for just doing a simple decision at times, or it could be used for also predicting some of the things which currently are just left to chance. And we feel that we don't have enough data. I think with AI, actually a lot of synthetic data can also get produced very quickly now. So even with a small amount of data, just multiplying it very quickly and then using it to solve some core problems in the workflow are going to be could be a very low-hanging fruit in my opinion.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I know I tried my luck and somebody at backstage said, I'll shut off your mic so that you don't speak more. I won't try it again now. But I want to thank all of you and I want to thank the panelists for their contribution. A big round of applause for them, please. And more importantly, a big round of applause for yourself because you are the ones who's creating this ecosystem that will drive Kerala's growth in the years to come. So thank you for that.